Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Aaron Spencer. First I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the alleged crime, then offer my analysis. Aaron Spencer was born in 1988 and lived in Cabot, Arkansas. This town of 27,000 people is 25 miles northeast of Little Rock. Aaron lived on a farm with his wife Heather, a teenage daughter, and a young adult son. He worked as a farmer and a general contractor. Aaron's daughter was homeschooled and occasionally spent time at the home of a family friend. In July 2024, Aaron's 14-year-old daughter reported that while she was staying at the friend's home during the spring, when she was 13 years old, a 67-year-old man named Michael Fosler committed terrible offenses against her. That same month, Michael was arrested and charged with 43 felony offenses, including internet stalking, possessing inappropriate images, and committing an assault of a sexual nature. He was released in September 2024 on a $50,000 bond. The court ordered him not to have any contact with the Spencer family. Now moving to the timeline of the alleged crime. On October 8, 2024, at about 1 a.m., Aaron Spencer was awakened by the sound of his daughter's chihuahua barking. When he looked in his daughter's bedroom, it appeared as though she was in her bed sleeping. But then Aaron realized that someone had placed a stuffed animal with a hoodie in the bed. Aaron's wife Heather called 911 at 1:12 a.m. and reported that her daughter was missing and indicated that Michael Fosler may be responsible for the kidnapping. Aaron climbed in his pickup truck and started searching for his daughter. A short time later, he called 911, saying that he had located both the kidnapper, Michael Fosler, and his daughter. Michael was dead on the side of the road. Aaron indicated he had no choice, implying that he killed him. When the police arrived at the scene of the killing, which was 15 miles east of Cabot at the intersection of Highway 236 and Highway 13, they found Michael dead. He had been shot in the chest, abdomen, and arms. The weapon that killed him was Aaron's Glock 19 Gen 4 semi-automatic pistol chambered in 9mm Luger. Here is the story that Aaron Spencer supplied to investigators. After starting the search for his daughter in his pickup truck, Aaron spotted Michael's white Ford F-150 as it turned onto Highway 236 eastbound. This was in the direction of Michael's residence. Aaron made a U-turn and pursued Michael's Ford F-150. To get his attention, he flashed his lights and activated his horn. When the two vehicles reached the intersection with Highway 13, which is where Highway 236 ends, Aaron rammed his truck into the rear of Michael's truck. This caused Michael's Ford F-150 to run into a ditch. Aaron exited his truck while carrying his Glock pistol in his hand. He ordered Michael to exit the vehicle and lay down in the ditch. Aaron could see that his daughter was trying to exit the passenger side of Michael's F-150, but it appeared as though Michael had grabbed her. This was preventing Aaron's daughter from escaping the truck. At this point, Michael exited the F-150. There was something in Michael's hand, which Aaron was unable to identify. Michael lunged toward Aaron, still holding the unidentified object, and yelled, "Blank you." Aaron opened fire on Michael with the Glock pistol, emptying the magazine. He then jumped on top of Michael and struck him with the pistol. Aaron rescued his daughter from Michael's F-150 and brought her to his pickup truck, where he reloaded his Glock pistol and called 911. Aaron's behavior basically crammed every action movie cliché into a single overnight showdown. He was just missing the classic scene where the truck blows up behind him as he casually strolls away. The police have not indicated how many times Aaron shot Michael, but the standard magazine for a Glock 19 holds 15 cartridges. If Aaron had one round in the chamber, that would be 16 in the weapon total. Therefore, Michael may have been shot up to 16 times. Aaron Spencer was arrested and initially charged with first-degree murder, but that was later reduced to second-degree murder along with the firearm enhancement. In December 2024, the court made the surprising move of issuing a gag order. In May 2025, the Arkansas Supreme Court struck down this order, labeling it overly broad and vague. At the time I'm making this video, Aaron Spencer's trial is scheduled to start on January 26, 2026. Now moving to my analysis. Aaron Spencer maintains his innocence, and he has a massive number of supporters. They argue that Aaron was acting in self-defense and the defense of his daughter when he killed Michael Fosler. In a motion filed by Aaron's defense, his attorney argued that no reasonable person using common sense would consider the circumstances and find that Aaron was not fearful for the safety of his child at the hands of a man who had repeatedly hurt her for months. The state apparently disagrees with the idea that Aaron is innocent, although they have not said why they disagree. The prosecutor suggested that there is more to the story than the defense is revealing, but refused to indicate what that was. This has made the case somewhat mysterious. Presumably, the state believes the killing of Michael Fosler was unjustified, or else it would be kind of a strange move to charge Aaron with second-degree murder. In the state of Arkansas, a person can use deadly force if they reasonably believe that another subject is engaging in at least one of these three activities: committing or about to commit a felony involving force or violence, using or about to use unlawful deadly physical force, or imminently endangering the person's life. This brings me to the question, is Aaron Spencer guilty of second-degree murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Aaron could have contacted the police prior to ramming Michael's Ford F-150 into the ditch. When Michael exited the F-150, Aaron continued firing his pistol until his ammunition was depleted, then proceeded to beat Michael with the empty pistol. One could argue that this was excessive. That's pretty much it for the inculpatory factors. Now moving to the exculpatory factors. When Michael was shot to death, he was in the process of kidnapping Aaron's daughter, which is a crime of violence. There was no other explanation outside of kidnapping. This was after 1 a.m., and Michael had allegedly committed offenses against Aaron's daughter in the past. Aaron stated that Michael prevented his daughter from exiting the Ford F-150. It is reasonable to believe that Michael represented an imminent threat to Aaron's daughter. Aaron indicated that Michael charged at him with something in his hand while yelling "blank you." If that is true, Michael represented an imminent threat to Aaron. Arguably, Aaron may have overreacted a bit by emptying his weapon and beating Michael with the pistol. However, Aaron was fighting for his life. Furthermore, the police never indicated how many rounds were actually fired. Was it really somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 16? Was the magazine fully loaded when Aaron started firing? Not everybody fills magazines to maximum capacity. Was there a round in the chamber? Some gun owners don't carry semi-automatic pistols with a round in the chamber. Even if Aaron did fire 15 or 16 rounds, did Aaron strike Michael with all of those rounds? Maybe Aaron missed with most of those shots. It was dark. He was under stress. This can make accurate shooting a challenge. When considering all the evidence that has been released in this case so far, do I believe that Aaron Spencer is guilty of murder? In my opinion, no. Aaron is not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and he is actually innocent. If this is all the evidence the state has, prosecuting Aaron does not make any sense at all, and Aaron is probably going to be acquitted. The problem here, of course, is the assertion by the state that they have evidence they won't reveal. Presumably, they are implying that if they revealed this evidence, the public would look at this case differently, like Aaron would appear guilty. There are many unanswered questions in this case, which have the potential to help or hurt Aaron's case. For example, did Michael have a weapon in his hand when the police found his body? Did he have a gun? Was his body found outside the F-150, consistent with Aaron's story? What did Aaron's daughter tell the police? Did she corroborate key aspects of her father's story? For example, Michael ended up in the ditch because Aaron rammed the F-150 rather than driving into the ditch himself. Michael prevented her from exiting the F-150, which means the kidnapping was ongoing. And Michael charged at Aaron while holding something in his hand and saying, "blank you." If Aaron's daughter did corroborate these aspects, then that is good news for Aaron. If she said something else, Aaron's situation could become more complicated. I was thinking about what evidence the state could possibly have, which would give them such a high level of confidence. They are pursuing a case even though pretty much everyone in the world believes that Aaron is not guilty. I suppose Aaron would look guilty if Michael surrendered and Aaron shot him anyway. Does the state have evidence to support the idea that Michael surrendered? There's no way to know at this point, but they must have something. Either that, or there is prosecutorial misconduct going on here. This brings me to the question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Michael Fosler kidnapped Aaron's daughter. He may have been trying to commit additional offenses, or maybe he wanted to get rid of the only witness against him. Whatever his motivation, he was committing a violent crime. Michael knew that he was risking his own life. When Aaron spotted Michael's Ford F-150, he unwisely decided not to call 911. Instead, he rammed the vehicle off the road, which led to the lethal confrontation. Aaron was justified in using deadly force, but he did use more force than would be recommended to maintain a healthy self-defense claim. The state claims to have secret evidence, which they believe is going to turn this case around and convince a jury of Aaron's guilt. I don't know what this evidence is. However, in many of the cases that I've covered where the state claimed to have a smoking gun, they never did. When the evidence is released, it is underwhelming and insignificant. I would be surprised if the state obtains a conviction for second-degree murder, despite their claim of there being more to the story. One other possible angle that the state could take here is this idea that Aaron became the aggressor when he rammed Michael's F-150. They could argue that this action represented a disproportionate use of force and led to the lethal confrontation. If Aaron had not rammed the vehicle, Michael would still be alive. The problem for the state is that Michael represented an ongoing threat to Aaron's daughter at the time he was shot to death. It is true that Aaron was not in danger at the time he rammed the F-150, but he was permitted to act in defense of another. Aaron had to assume that at any moment, Michael was willing and able to kill or seriously injure his daughter. I would argue that Michael was always the aggressor and the one provoking the violence throughout this incident. Aaron would have been justified in using lethal force at any time while his daughter was being held hostage. I believe the state is going to have difficulty if they try to make it seem like Aaron provoked the situation. This was entirely on Michael, and he paid an expected price. Those are my thoughts on the case of Aaron Spencer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Just a reminder that I have over 300 pre-release videos on my Patreon account. These videos are of the same quality as the videos I release to the public. When I put a video in pre-release status, it usually stays that way for several months, if not a year. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video.